Welcome to Mira's Cafe. We are an organic and vegan restaurant in Fairfield, Iowa. Here you can see we have yantras. We sell these. These are the printed ones, and we also have the 3D ones over there. We can look at these. These yantras are made by a local artist. They are energy centers, and they are very popular among the local crowds. And these are for sale online as well. And they were part of the old restaurant called Revelations when we bought this restaurant. And we decided to keep the yantras because they are beautiful and they bring in so much positive energy in the restaurant as well. Books also came with the restaurant, and it was a legacy that we wanted to keep. This is also a cafe and book reading place. People love to come and have coffee and read and spend some time. So we kept the books and the yantras. This is our live plant wall. It's 160 plants on the wall. These are watered by irrigation system behind the wall. And we wanted to bring some different elements in the cafe, and this was part of our plant-based restaurant theme. Brings a lot of color to the cafe. Coming in, we have more books. And this is our corner where we provide information on how plant-based diet is good, about environment, about different authors, local artists as well. This is our local author, Cheyenne. She has written a book, and we sell books as well and information.
You got a little corner over here.
Yes, that was a gift from one of our friends, and we put it out there. These are nano leaves, nano tiles. They can change colors, and they just bring light and beautiful element to the cafe. And when we bought the cafe, we inherited a pizza oven, and we were super excited because you could do so much with pizza. It was originally a brick oven pizza, and then it was difficult to bring in the wood. It was a wood pizza. It was just too difficult to bring it, so she converted it into a regular electric pizza oven. And we are making amazing pizzas in it for our cafe. They are vegan, organic, non-GMO. And we make our cheese in-house, we make the sauce in-house, we make fusion pizzas like tandoori sauces and tandoori tikka, those kind of pizzas, and it's been fun. We are glad to have the pizza. In terms of menu, we have Indian food, and we have pizza, and we have drinks, all the cafe drinks that you would see at a cafe. This is our space. This art is by a local artist and also the guy who works for us. His name is Adi, and he churns out the pizzas, and he is an artist as well. He did this custom design for us. Okay, and then we'll show you the back kitchen. So we have a big kitchen. Maybe we could take a close-up shot of the dosa of that. That is our most sold popular item. It's like a savory crepe. And
that's our stone grinder.
It's for grinding the batter for lentils and rice. So this is a big one that does it in batches. And that would be it. Name. So hi, my name is Pia, and my title is I am a YouTuber, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a vegan restaurant in Fairfield, Iowa. The year I went vegan was 2019 for spiritual reasons. So when my son was born in 2011, I started looking into a lot of documentaries, started reading a lot on what to feed him, and more importantly, what not to feed him. That opened up so much information for me, which I wasn't paying attention to. Before that, my husband and I, we were heavy meat eaters. We were eating a lot of chicken, organic chicken. We were watching all these documentaries that were slowly planting the seeds of eating clean and watching what you eat. So we started doing that, and the more I learned about this whole food system and about how animals are raised, and slowly started feeling that it's not right and we should do something about it. It only took 10 years for us to go vegan after that. It was a process. I mean, when you
So
are
when you say only 10 years, that's 10 years before 2019?
Yes,
Okay.
to 2011. 10 is when I started looking into my diet, and then I kind of, it took that much time. That's the thing, that when someone tells you to go vegetarian or vegan, when you're eating meat, you're like, why are you here?
Yeah. That's encouraging, because a lot of times you want people to do it so quick, and then you feel like your efforts are futile, right?
Yes.
But they're not. They're just planting a seed, right?
Yes. That's when knowledge becomes wisdom.
Okay.
That's the journey of, that journey that Rahul was talking about. That first you start accumulating knowledge, then you understand, support evidence, whether that knowledge supports what I want to do, whether I want to keep going down, pursuing that particular path, like whether I want to go vegan route, whether I want to go non-vegan route. And that's what we did. I mean, we did all that research and finally went vegan in 2019 after reading this book called Autobiography of a Yogi. I read that, and then suddenly a spiritual shift came in me because the book was encouraging me to do lots of meditations and clean my diet and have a lighter body. So for that, I felt if I have to have a lighter body, I should now finally put all that knowledge and put all that wisdom to work. And I went cold turkey on meat, which was, I surprised myself. I never thought I had the willpower to do something like that. 2019, yes, is that when I decided, that's when the question whether if I continue doing that, should I, just because I can take from animals, should I? So I think that animal compassion, suddenly, I'm surprised because I was eating chicken and goats and ham here all the time and never felt that animal compassion. And I had dogs at home growing up. But that shift came when I read this book, where I was like, now I'm going to try to do things that support this spiritual journey. And feeling healthy and light and not eating animals was part of that journey. So that's when I got the motivation to try something that's like that. Health wasn't a reason. I didn't have any health conditions. I did yoga a lot. We did eat a lot of junk food. I mean, processed food. When we were non-vegan, and we used to drink a lot. So we were at the regular, 30, 40-year-old something diet. And suddenly then those shifts started coming and we decided to now put that in action.
Yeah.
So it was good that Rahul was on board, my husband was on board, because if one partner does it and the other doesn't, then it also takes longer. I mean, it might happen. So I got lucky that he was on board within 6 months and he tried it as well. So that's when it became solid.
I should have asked him if he could have done it without you.
Yeah, no, it would have been very difficult because then I would have encouraged him to, I want to eat chicken today, or I want to eat this, you make something else for yourself. It becomes difficult to prepare to kind of meals all the time. So it's definitely teaming up helps here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of my questions also. Could you be with somebody now that you are vegan? Could you be with somebody who isn't?
Definitely yes, because I have come from that world where when I was eating meat, people who, and then at that point also there were friends who were vegetarians and they would send me these videos about how meat is bad or how meat can cause cancer, and I'm like, who is sending you these videos? I would question them instead of trying to see whether there is any validity to it. But I got angry, I got upset, I was in denial. At that time I wasn't ready. So I understand people when I tell them to go vegan or like this is our journey, and when however they react and respond to it, I totally relate to it because I have been that person.
Yeah. Was there ever a time before you went vegan where you were like, there's no way?
Yes, I thought by the time I'm like 60, when my digestive system is delicate, it's going down, I would probably eat lighter food. So I had it in my mind, like I'll do it eventually, but I never thought in my mind I'll be able to do it at 35, 36-year-old something, that I would shift so quick.
Yeah. Now, what kind of changes did you experience, whether they be physiological, mental, or emotional?
Well, I definitely feel that my health has improved. My numbers are better. I lost 40 pounds after I went vegan.
It's the same amount he lost.
Yes, we both lost 40. Like we lost 80 pounds between the two of us.
That's funny.
Yes, and I also.
That's how you're in sync.
Yes, definitely. And after Ria, I was 200 pounds something, and then my daughter was born in 2013. So I had 2 kids in 3 years. 2011, my son was born. 2013, my daughter was born, and I was at my max weight by 2015, 2016. And then I started doing yoga. I'm a yoga practitioner, and I lost that weight. But then I started feeling that I was able to. My workouts got so much better. I was doing P90X. These home workouts like high cardio, and you need a lot of energy and a lot of strength for that. And after not eating dairy and not eating meat, I felt I could do everything so much better. So I definitely felt that. And then mentally, I would say I was feeling good that I'm part of a solution I'm not part of a problem based on all the environmental documentaries I saw. So eventually by 2019, I think the knowledge that became wisdom was that it's not good for the planet. It's not good for the animal. It's not good for my health. Why am I continuing that path? Let me experiment it and have an open mind and see if it works for me. And also I liked the fact that it was not eating something else, incorporating something else in my diet and following, it was not a diet.
You weren't adding anything.
I wasn't adding anything. People think that veganism is a diet, but it's a lifestyle. That's something that we understood.
You kind of have a lot different approach as to why you went vegan. His was all about health initially. Yours was not, and you did this before him. And maybe he needed your ethical support or influence to endure the learning curve.
Right, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, there was times where it sounded like when I was listening to his story, he was having a essentially detox, for lack of better words. It took, he said, 21 days for the taste to change and all that. Somebody else might be thinking, this isn't working for me, but he just kept doing it anyways and made it work. And I think when you have the ethics, you find a way to make it work.
Yes.
Yeah, does any of that resonate with you?
Definitely. It's all about, it becomes priority, like what is more important, what is your priority right now. At that point of time when I felt that I want to be part of a solution, that was my priority. So eating and enjoying meat was less important to me, and working and doing something about the environmental problem and being part of that solution was more important. I think that's when the scales move and your priority shifts. You make it happen even more. I think that's what happened to me.
I have friends who I wish would do this, and sometimes they use their spouse as an excuse. Well, if she would do it.
Yes, yes. I don't think we could have done it without each other. It's definitely easier when two people are on the same page in the house, especially when it comes to food. You can go to the same restaurants, you can enjoy same recipes, you can talk about the same stuff. So otherwise it would have been difficult and would have taken longer. It's not like it's not possible. I know people who are, one partner is vegan and one partner is eating meat. But then they have to make it happen. They have to choose restaurants where both partners can eat, or one person has to take their food with themselves. Literally, that's what they do. One person the vegan friend would carry the food with her so that she can, because she knows there will be no vegan food at that place. So it's more work.
Now, do you travel a lot?
Yes, we do, yeah.
Is it hard when you're traveling?
Definitely, oh yeah. I mean, I would say today is the best time to go vegan, 2024, compared to any other time in history. Today there is a vegan option, vegan recipe or vegan item on every restaurant, even if it's the bad impossible meat or the highly processed options, but the options are there. Airports are the worst, I would say. You can't find much at all besides like a sandwich, or like you have to compromise there. But restaurants, I don't feel like today it's any problem. You can find something like a salad or a soup or a sandwich. So it isn't that bad.
Now, do you and you probably bring your own maybe snacks and stuff?
No, we don't do that. We try to find things at the restaurants because we are trying to teach our kids as well. Like find vegan food. Try to find something that you can make. You can ask them to remove the cream cheese. So we go to a Mexican restaurant and we get something we get things without dairy in it or cream cheese. So we try to veganize and find options, and the kids are also learning then. And then we are also learning. I mean, we would love to do that.
Yeah. And the kids, kind of letting them just learn from your role model?
I push it in a subtle way by forcing them to watch documentaries. That's what I've done. Like I showed them Dominion, which was like, I wanted them to see how the animal suffers for something that we get out of it, which worked wonders on my younger one. She said the next day we had this organic milk gallon and she used to drink milk in the morning and evening, like twice a day. A child, she was 8 years old at that time. She saw the documentary and I was surprised, and it kind of helped me understand child psychology as well, that both of them immediately said it's bad for the animal, it's bad for the cow, and I'm not gonna do it. It was easier for them to take themselves out of the equation because they are not hardened by habits. They are not a creature of habit at this point of time. Whereas we as adults at 30-year-old or 40-year-old or 50-year-old, we don't want to change something like that. So she said, I'm not going to drink it. And I was like, she will be begging for it by evening. And she did not. She never asked for it for she has never asked for it.
Again, since?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
she's
Sweet.
so it's settled. And then with my son, he was also very vegan. So I do talk to him about, like, it's not good for your health, it's not good for the environment, and it's not good for that animal. So I do talk to them. We encourage them to choose healthier junk. That's what we do. Because in today's world, it's difficult to keep them away from it. You're surrounded by it by junk food all the time. Processed food, highly processed food. As a child, you have the money and nobody's watching, you're gonna buy it. So my point is that I show them products or companies that add colors or companies that are not as healthier, and then we try to find and look up labels and try to see, okay, it has red 40, yellow 6, let's not buy things that have that, or things that have sugar, let's look at how much of sugar it has. So they have started reading labels, and they're also looking at brands, like this is a non-GMO or organic or relatively healthier. We do talk about our lifestyle change and the benefits that we got with our friends a lot. I talked about my weight loss. I told my brother about it, and he's an athlete. He plays badminton in India, and he was trying to lose all this weight for so many years, and he's 10 years older than me. So he was around 40, mid 40 something at that point. And I told him, just don't eat dairy and meat for a certain period of time. And he doesn't eat a lot of junk food anyways. He had to buy new clothes because within, like, people started asking, are you sick? Like, how are you losing all that weight? What happened to you? He immediately shed all that unnecessary weight that he was carrying for so many long. He was trying to get rid of it, and he was shocked, and he said, I feel great, my game has improved, I don't feel the heaviness and the lethargy that I felt after eating dairy, and he's been sticking to it. He doesn't consume, being in India, I mean, that was pretty big. Coming from family, and seeing that it worked out well, he didn't end up with something complicated, so that was a good reassurance. And then another friend, she is a strength trainer. She's a trainer, so she lifts weights and stuff. And when I talked to her about it, she decided to give it a try. She's like, okay, I'll try giving up dairy, and she's a vegan now. And she's promoting it on Instagram and her channel, and she is saying she is in the best shape of her life. Wow. So I'm glad that these experiences came from family and friends.
Yeah, family and friends and culture, it's an expression of love. To feed people, they would oftentimes try to express their love by feeding something that's potentially not even an expression of love if you really think about it, right? Because it's an animal that's being hurt, and it's food that might not be healthy. Has that been a challenge, like where you go to certain family members and they keep trying to feed you the wrong foods?
Yes, especially in India. You can't keep ghee or butter or paneer out of Indian food. But at the same time, this time when we went back to India, there is a lot of soy in market, like that's mimicking chicken. Yeah, and they are either made out of all-purpose, which is again unhealthy, or made out of 100% soy, which is slightly better, but then it's not easily available. But Indian food is very vegan. It has so many vegan options and recipes in it already. Especially South India cooks so much food in coconut oil and coconut milk. Milk and ghee, which is like, so both are vegan options. And as well is a lot of vegetables are cooked, a lot of rice, a lot of wheat-based stuff. So I feel that Indian cuisine is the most vegan, adaptable, vegan-friendly cuisine, where you can easily make so many recipes that were based in chicken. You could use jackfruit for meat, or put something, or mushrooms for fish. So Rahul has been experimenting with so many amazing meat recipes. And then our friends and family in India, we talked to them. We told them we don't eat ghee and we don't eat dairy and meat. So they are very inquisitive. They question, like, how are we living? How is our life? How miserable it is. But then we tell them that it's not like that. We make kheer. Like, this kheer is a very popular dessert in India. Rice pudding, and it's typically made with milk, but when people eat it here, they're like, you're not missing out on anything. You've done it, so it's good.
So it doesn't sound like you're getting a lot of kickback. You're just getting a lot of questions, curious questions.
Yes, I love convincing people, and I love planting seeds. I initiate, Rahul and I, we initiate these uncomfortable conversations, and we tell them that we have done it and we have seen good results. It's not good for the planet. And also the fact that just because it was done for thousands of years, And now that times have changed, our lifestyles have changed, those animals have changed, how they are raised, what are they are being fed. So looking at data, so we encourage people two things. We ask them to talk to a lot of vegans and get data, like talk to them and ask them how it has helped you. I think personal experiences work the best. And then second thing is do your research, like have an open mind and look into this documentary or read this book. So we constantly bombard people with documentary suggestions or book suggestions, especially if they have a diabetes or like a condition where they see some incentive, or if I try this, I can heal. So that definitely works. Some people have animal compassion. If I connect with animal compassion, they are more receptive. And some are environmentally geared, and spiritual angle, I haven't found many people who would want to go vegan for spiritual reasons. But it's just finding that where people can connect and planting the seed. I mean, and I don't expect them to go and listen to me and agree. Like, my expectation is that they will probably not even like it, and I'm okay with it. It's a seed planting right now. It might become a tree 1 year from now or tomorrow, or I don't know when it'll happen. But it's important to talk about it
and meet them where they're at.
Yeah, and not being quiet either. It's not like I don't want to talk about it because you're not ready to listen.
Yeah.
I will talk about it in a way where it's like it's not too much.
Yeah.
So I've found that ground where I like to do that.
What's it like having a restaurant here, and how's that working for you and fit into the equation?
So we were thinking of doing a restaurant at some point in our time, and we were both in corporate jobs. We started talking about it, started writing out the plan in Kentucky when we were in Louisville, Kentucky. And there were few vegan restaurants in Louisville, and then there was this one vegan restaurant we started going a lot, and then it closed. So then we asked them, why did you close? And they said, like, there's no business in Louisville, Kentucky, not much business yet in these heavy meat and potato big urban cities. So we were researching more into like how do we open a vegan restaurant in a big city where people would want to come and experiment it. Long story short, we ended up moving to Fairfield for our kids to try out a school here that teaches meditation and yoga and life skills to kids. And Fairfield is a very Ayurvedic town already, and it's a very vegetarian town already. So that, I think that worked for us.
What does it mean when you say Ayurvedic town?
Ayurvedic town, it's dubbed as America's most Vedic and Ayurvedic city because of Maharishi. Maharishi set up a university here, and there's a university here called Maharishi International University, and then there's a school, Maharishi School. A lot of his knowledge was about food and Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is a science, food science from India, that talks about to eat certain items based on your physiology, based on your biology, anatomy. So it has a test, you give the test and it tells you. And Ayurveda discourages eating meat and discourages eating too much dairy. It focuses more on vegetables and lentils and other seeds and nuts and other stuff. So that's why the people here were already on that path. There's not too much meat eating for that population, not for everybody. But at the same time, vegan market is also expanding. Vegan industry is also on a rise. So we wanted to get into it and make some vegan meat, some vegan cheese, and see if we can scale it up from there. So there is a company called, they have closed now, but the name was The Bean Butchers. And it's a Canadian company. And these two guys had a restaurant. They experimented their meats in the restaurant, and then they scaled it up and started selling vegan meat on a bigger scale. So looking at their model, we thought that this is something that we would like to do. And we are in that model right now. This is our lab.
Okay, so the restaurant is your lab.
Yes.
Nice.
So then Rahul is experimenting with a lot of meat recipes, and we have designed our own organic cheese recipe for our pizzas.
Nice.
So we'll go from here. And today, as I said, it's the best time to go vegan. And when it comes to creativity in terms of food on YouTube, it's out of, like, you can't imagine how many recipes and how much innovation people are doing, so much stuff, and you can find a recipe for anything and everything vegan. So it's a good time to experiment.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned YouTube, and you have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
What is that? What is that channel?
Yes. So I've after living in US for almost 2 decades now, 20 years, living as an immigrant and working through the life, working in American corporate and also staying at home as a mother, and then transitioning from being at home mother to career and then to business. There were so many learnings, so many lessons learned, so many mistakes made, and so much that goes through all of that, that I want to bring all of that learning to my channel called Aware Nari. And Nari means woman, and it's Aware Nari for awareness for women, so that they can take charge of their own career in terms of knowledge, in terms of sharing information. So I'm doing podcasts on the channel, I'm doing videos on life in US, informative videos, like if you want to make your career, I have a video and content for that. I'm also bringing a website where Aware Nari, immigrant women are going to help and train immigrant women. In terms of if you have an interview, we have interview prep coaches. They can speak your language. They're women like you. They came to US, and then they figured it out, and then they got opportunities, and they got into corporate. So these are the women I'm trying to bring out to help the women who are trying to figure it out. So trying to create a network for helping women navigate life in US. That's all the channel is about.
Sweet, sweet. I'll have to link to that in the description. So when we were talking about culture and you said thousands of years, we've done this, doesn't make it right. It makes me think about, have you ever heard of Miyoko Shinner?
Miyoko's cheese, yeah.
Yeah. So when I interviewed her, she mentioned thousands of years of veganism. And a lot of people in the comment section were like, there wasn't vegans back then. My way of interpreting that or saying that is that, well, veganism is, by definition, actually, to not exploit animals as much as practicable. Mm-hmm. So
true.
Back then, before it was even coined, thousands of years ago, people didn't just needlessly hurt animals like we do now when we eat them mindlessly for every meal when we have alternatives. They did it out of necessity, right? Is there a lot of vegetarianism in your culture because people have that ethical intention?
Mm-hmm. Yes. In India, because cows were worshipped, still are worshipped. Cows are worshipped as part of the whole religious aspect. And also the way the animal was raised earlier, the population was low back in time. Like if we go far in history, there were not as many people as we have today. Also, wealth was different. Not everybody could afford to keep a cow or buy dairy or buy meat. So at that time, even in Western worlds, not everybody was not eating meat. If you go back before 1950s, before World War, meat was not as readily available and as cheap as it is today in a grocery store. So people who had money, people who could afford to buy meat every other day or afford to buy dairy every other day could do it. And a lot of population depended on simple legumes, vegetables, seeds, nuts, that kind of food.
But that doesn't sound like there's ethical intent.
Mm-hmm. Ethical intent in the sense that because it is unethical to kill the cow, you're not allowed in Hinduism, especially when it comes to Hinduism in part of India that practices that. They don't hurt the cow, they raise the cow. It's part of the family. It's not like you're raising an animal. You're raising like a puppy in the house or a cat in the house. The cow cries with you and you take care of it, and when I was growing up, we had buffaloes in our farmhouse. So when they were not impregnated unnecessarily, time after time, they were allowed to live their life with you in the house. So that was very ethical. And then Britishers came and they started dairy farms in India. So when Britishers came, that's when tea came and dairy came, and they wanted more dairies for their encampments, and that's when Indians started doing dairy farms. Before that, cows were being raised here and there sparingly because it was expensive. Not everybody was able to afford and drinking milk like we are doing it today. Mm-hmm. In China also, the documentaries that I've seen have said that meat and dairy was not as big because of these reasons, because of affordability. That was also industrialization. Dairy became within 25 years when it was introduced, dairy farms, it became one of the major industries in India under British rule when they started exporting dairy, a lot of milk.
Do you think, though, historically, prior to colonization, that the intent was pretty much vegan all along? Do you feel that way?
I would say meat eating wasn't part of culture, especially in India. People would not eat the cow after it died. It would be yeah. But then dairy was definitely part of culture. Dairy is still part of culture.
But they probably felt like they needed it. Maybe.
The dairy?
Yeah. Traditionally.
Before colonization.
Yeah.
No, before colonization, I don't think that dairy, India was very heavy on, I don't think so. Because of, again, the fact that it wasn't as, people could not afford to keep or buy milk as much. Dairy industry started becoming popular when TV ads and the ads came, and then formally they started saying drink milk because calcium is good for you.
But they were drinking milk before that, right? So I'm just trying to understand if there was that vegan intent to only do it out of not harming the animal and under the premise that maybe it was providing a nutrient that might be hard to get elsewhere.
Yes, now that I could see that at one point of time with growing population and growing people in the house, growing families, the cow was definitely providing that nutritional value to the people because there was a lot of hard labor in farms. And 12 kids or 11 kids to feed, 14 people in the house. But then the cow was treated nice and well as well. It was part of the family, it did all the work, it wasn't abused, so to speak. And then it produced enough. After the baby drank the milk, it had produced enough for everybody to, but it was, veganism wasn't a concept because hurting animal wasn't also a concept.
So it didn't need to be a concept.
Yes, exactly.
Because they weren't exploiting the animal beyond what they felt like they needed.
That's yes. Now I understand what you were saying.
Yeah, because, so, see, that helps a lot because people act like what we're doing now has always happened.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Dairy farm concept came like after industrialization happened, and then marketing happened after TVs came out, like more and more dairy promotion, got milk, milk is calcium, and then it got into healthcare, and then dairy industry actually lobbied a lot to governments to say, we would love to, our industry is going to die if you don't market that we all need to drink. So then it was put into education, it was put into government, dairy industry lobbied and found its way into the fact that it's needed, it's necessary, or else your health is going to, your bones are going to break and you won't have enough calcium. So they created that kind of amazing marketing. Diamonds and dairy were the best marketing campaigns that worked the best. That created something that was...
Dairy and diamonds.
Diamonds, diamonds, I feel that there's not enough wealth. Like diamonds are forever, but I'm not. But still I want to buy that diamond for thousands and thousands of dollars. That comes at a cost of, so many families are displaced. It's something that's value is like something very marginal, but then it's sold at this high price, thinking that I need it, it'll somehow make my life better. And everybody's doing it, so I have to do it as well. And it's same kind of marketing, creating marketing psychology in people that it's good for me, I should be doing it, everybody else is doing it.
This is hitting so many valuable things. And the term veganism came at the perfect time, really, didn't it? Because it came at the crux of all this marketing infiltrating such a huge market. Because, I mean, there's billions of people over there and there's only 300 million over here. Wow, amazing. And so just to reiterate, prior to it being coined, it really didn't even need to be coined because people weren't needlessly enslaving animals and hurting them. And that's the whole point of veganism, is to not do that.
Exactly. It's funny that eating normal these days is called diet. Least processed food, like regular food, is considered diet because we are eating so much processed food, which has become normal. So that's normal. Eating bad food has become normal for us as humans all over, not just here. I mean, it's global. It's a global phenomena. And eating good food or healthy food or less processed food or whole food, plant-based diet is considered diet. So that's funny that how we've defined and shifted normal to something that's not normal.
Yeah, but really, veganism is not a diet.
Yes,
but
it's a lifestyle.
And at the same time, this way of eating isn't a diet either. It's the most natural way to be.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Definitely.
So what does that even look like to you? What is a normal day of eating or an ideal day of eating? And it doesn't have to be in the restaurant, but what does that look like for you?
So we eat a lot of fruits, we eat a lot of grains, like rice is my favorite grain. I could eat rice with anything, like lots of vegetables. I love baked vegetables as well. So slowly I'm going to move towards more boiled food and baked food and steamed food, something that's lighter on my body, and then practice more yoga. And that's the goal, that the food supports my spiritual journey. And when I meditate, I can feel light, and I can sit for, that 1 hour that I initially, in 2019, the book said you have to sit for this long period of time for meditations, and the lighter you feel in your body. And also eating meat, and it comes from an animal that's last thought was like, I'm gonna die right now. It knows it, it's well aware of it. So that kind of energy in your body, I just did not want anything that is taken from anything. So I'm glad that veganism is on rise. I'm very happy to see that the industry is booming. The dairy industry has taken a hit in a long time, in recent years, according to statistics. So it's good, more and more kids and more younger. Surprisingly, more youth is vegan than any other demographics today online, but more and more youth is trying to understand animal compassion, and that's one of their main reasons, like our kids, like our daughter. So it's good that more vegan restaurants are opening up, and it's on the rise. It's high time. We should do it,
And my initiatives moving forward are predominantly about raising children vegan. I have a website, raisingchildrenvegan.com, that I just started.
Nice.
Do y'all do sprouts ever?
For sprouts, yes, definitely. It's something that we are looking into doing more, like more salads and more raw vegan. Like that's something that we would love to create more recipes around sprouts and salads that incorporate that. Sprout beans, sprout lentils, legumes. We had this 3-tier sprouting box from India, and then Rahul would put the lentils and then keep moving them and then keep sprouting. So we are going to look into that and add more salads and sprouts.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, like in respect to food, so people can get an idea what you eat and how to implement this?
Yes, I would say the one tip that I always give people is that give yourself 6 months to a year to go vegan. If you feel that, I can't do this right now, I love my meat, I love my cheese, and I'm not ready to do this, find alternatives, try new things. Try out the store-bought, even if it is a store-bought product, try it and see if you can, you can shift from dairy to non-dairy. So that's something that I recommend. And then also, it's challenging to stick to whole foods, raw or less processed, like least processed, to create that kind of food, which I would love to do. Because everything is highly processed these days. Even in vegan, when I buy vegan meat or vegan cheese or vegan milk, everything is again going back to preservatives and all the things like oils are added in milks. Oat milk has sunflower oil in it, right? And all that things that you don't want. So to create everything in-house from scratch, that is challenging, but definitely Rahul and I, we are looking more into that, how to make our restaurant and our lifestyle even more whole food, plant-based. You could be vegan and you could be unhealthy. People think that, you're vegan, you should be in best shape of your life, but it's difficult to be a vegan today in a world full of so much junk available out there.
Yeah, and those are corporations, I think, taking advantage of the vegan label.
Yes, it ties back to so many environmental initiatives. Yeah, vegan is not about only the animal. I feel that it's these 4 things, about the animal, about the environment, about your own health, and about spiritual growth. It can help you. That's my theory. I'm making a video on it as well, why these 4 reasons to go vegan. And also sometimes at our restaurant, there was this guy who came and was being sarcastic, do you have fake meat or fake milk?
Yeah, I think that's all we eat.
In my coffee. So I didn't say it to him, but my question to him is that, then if almond milk is fake to you, then cow milk is fake to me, because if you're talking about species to species, real milk should be a human, a woman. So then you should call that milk real milk, because then if you're not drinking real human milk, then everything else is fake. How is your milk, which is from another species, more real than something that's coming from a seed? I also plant these 2 seeds in people's mind, that human is the only animal drinking milk past infancy. Humans drink milk at 50, 60, no other animal is doing that. And also humans are the only animals drinking milk from some other species. No other animal in nature takes milk from another animal and gives it to their babies and not to that animal. So those are two pretty good questions to think. Why are we continuing this practice?
You talked about consuming fear earlier. Other people have mentioned that too. It's a pretty interesting concept. You've also talked a lot of ethics and spirituality. I'm wondering, does this translate over into humans? Do you feel like you're more compassionate to humans now being vegan? Does that empathy carry over?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. You feel that you've made that resolve that you're not going to unnecessarily take from someone who cannot speak for themselves. So I think that's a shift that comes for all the species, including humans. So I would say yes to that. Yeah, definitely that shift comes.
Do you have a favorite quote you want to share that's related to anything we're talking about here?
Yes, my favorite quote is something that I thought of, is that if a food comes from torturing a soul, it's not going to nourish my body. That's how I've started seeing meat. And I was a heavy meat eater. That shift came because I started feeling that it's not mine to take. I mean, their life is not mine to consume, and I should not. And also the torture that animal feels, because I know I'm dying for your food, and I might end up in trash if you don't like it. So I think that's my favorite quote, yes.
Your husband was quoting you a couple times.
That's her goal.
Yeah. Was there? He mentioned. I think you mentioned two.
Yes.
Did you cover both of those?
No, I just said
Did he mess up any of your quotes?
No, I think he did fine.
I might have rephrased it.
I didn't know if you wanted to clarify any of it.
No, the concept that you were mentioning about, like, when does change happen? I felt that for Rahul, like, that change wasn't happening until it was facilitated. So then my theory about that change was that you have to have the wisdom, and you have to have the motivation and facilitation. When all these three things converge, that's when change happens, because now you have facilitation. When he was traveling a lot, he couldn't focus on anything, like, especially on a vegan diet and exercising when he traveled a lot. But when COVID happened, he got facilitation. That's when he stayed at home and was able to put his motivation and wisdom to work, and change happened.
Do you feel like maybe other aspects of your relationship have improved?
I mean, we lost weight, and we got like we started practicing more yoga, and I also felt that we more connected in terms of being on the same page and working towards same missions and visions. Like, imagine me talking about, oh, this is bad for environment, and not being on the same page, and then that affects your relationship overall, I guess. But then veganism definitely has helped us in all aspects of our life. Yes, everything is good.
Do you have any regrets?
Regrets? Yes, maybe I could have done this earlier for myself and for those animals that I ate all those years, and then I tossed them saying, oh, I didn't like it. Like, that animal lost its life for becoming my meal, and not voluntarily. And then I tossed it so easily in the trash. So I remember those days when I did that, and I felt for each time an animal ended up in trash, because I wasn't conscious enough. So yeah, that's my regret. If I could have done it earlier. Yes.
Is there anything that you want to throw out there as to why you didn't do this sooner?
Why? I think it's just when you're ready, when you have accumulated all that knowledge, when something hits you, either it's your health you're trying to change, or that nudge has to come from somewhere. So I think that when that happens, you are ready to change. And for me, it just came from that spiritual growth that I wanted to do. So yeah, it happens when it happens. I mean, and that's something that I tell my friends to not take pressure on it. Sometimes they tell me, oh, I want to do it, and I am just unable to do it. And then they it kind of becomes negative kind of association with it. So I tell them, don't worry about it. Don't even think about, like, I have to do it today or tomorrow or next month. Just keep understanding, keep feeling, keep learning, keep watching documentaries, and then one day it will become priority. One day that shift will come.
And do you have any like resources that you want to recommend to others wanting to try this? And you've already mentioned Dominion and maybe some books. Is there anything that you didn't mention that, or you want to reiterate?
Definitely. So I have made a YouTube video on 10 documentaries to watch that would help you understand more about plant-based diets. Like, there is one called Game Changer on Netflix. There is a lot of data online as well. If you decide to research A lot of good documentaries these days, Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, and in terms of books, yes, Dr. Bernard's book is really good. Forks Over Knives, that is really good for cancer patients. And then the documentary has a lot of cancer patients that talk about how plant-based whole food diet helped them get better. So I definitely recommend that a lot too.
What about like how to eat or because like that's the most important way is like how do I implement this in my life, right? Do you have any resources for that maybe?
To give yourself 6 months and try out products. I mean, try replacing one, and also I always encourage people to switch one product at a time. So when I went vegan, especially on dairy, I decided to switch like just the milk first in the coffee, and then the yogurt so one step at a time and one product at a time. I think that really helps. That's not overwhelming. You're not feeling like, oh, I can't eat anything that I like. You're like switching one thing. So switch your cheese first maybe, then switch your yogurt and try your coconut yogurt or try a different kind of brands and find your products out there. I mean, the products are out there. And sometimes when I remember when I went vegan, I would buy something and it was like not good at all. I was like, no, this is so bad. But then I kept trying. I kept trying. So that's something that I would encourage people to not give up on it.
Essentially, it's just like replace meat with beans maybe, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, right?
Yes.
But now some people don't like beans. What do they do?
Yes, finding, categories that you like. YouTube is full of recipes. So like I like chicken pot pie. I miss eating chicken pot pie. So I found a recipe where I can make it vegan. Finding anything that was meat-based and seeing how it could be made vegan. The good thing is that YouTube has thousands and thousands of very creative and very healthy vegan recipes and chefs. So we follow a couple of chefs and they make this amazing healthy food as well. So we try new recipes. So I would say also giving up on some things I have given up. Like I'm never gonna recreate those in vegan, especially from Indian desserts. There were some desserts that are made out of paneer that you just can't recreate with tofu because paneer has the sweetness of dairy that doesn't, like nut milks don't have that sweetness that dairy and that oiliness, not oiliness, that greasiness that dairy has. Like when I started baking vegan, all my recipes were either too dry or they were not coming out as good as they were as when I was making them with milk and eggs and regular.
And maybe it opens up so many new ideas that you don't really miss those because you so many other options.
Yes. I was not into Vietnamese food earlier, but now that I've gone vegan, I love pho and I love going to Vietnamese restaurants and the wraps. So I did try. It did help me open up to Korean food or different foods, Vietnamese food, Thai food, different cuisines.
You're making me think of a quote. Nothing tastes better than healthy feels.
Yes, definitely. That's a good one. True.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like your husband Rahul, like he was saying, your taste buds change over time, right?
Yes.
So you'll get used to it, right?
Yes. Yeah. There's so much more out there. I mean, one thing that that's not scary to go vegan today in this world is that there's so much out there. You would not even miss eating that animal.
How do you maintain being positive in such a non-vegan world?
In the sense that we understand that not everybody is ready to do it right now, and give people grace and give people time because we've been there. We grew up in a very meat-heavy families. We were, celebrations were done. There were a lot of meat in celebrations and in every major event of your life. Now suddenly to give it all up and find replacements for everything, things that were done a certain way, is difficult. Idea is to let people be and just keep talking about your experiences. That's the best you could do by not pushing them, hey, you do this as well, but hey, this happened to me. That's it. So I think not forcing it on people is our way of doing things, because I've met sometimes people become irritated or agitated and argumentative. That backfires. Then people are more like, no, vegans are imposing their views on us and all of that. So we try not to become this enemy and try to work with people and say, hey, I know, I get you, I used to eat meat a lot and I know it's difficult, and I took 6 months to 1 year. So that helps them. They're like, yeah, that's something I can do. It's not like tomorrow go vegan with me.
Yeah.
So that's giving people time and grace and just saying we've done our work by giving and sharing this information with you. Now it's up to the universe to help.
And that's more about like influencing others, but what you're saying might make it easier to deal with this world.
Yeah, Rahul and I, we are working on a spiritual retreat here in Fairfield. Eventually, like that's our long-term goal. In the next 5 to 10 years, we would love to bring a spiritual retreat here that would have farm-to-table vegan restaurant. The food will be completely farm-to-table because there are so many farm-to-table meat concepts here. We would love to do that in vegan, and the food would be very fusion. You would not feel, oh, this is Indian food, or like it will be such a fusion menu. So we are very excited to bring that, and it will have yoga and meditation and veganism promotion in it. The retreat is all about that. So we are glad that we are working on promoting and talking about our experience, how it helped us with our health, with our journey. So we're happy to talk more about it.
Yeah. Sounds like you all found a path that's more in line with your skills. You're manifesting it in a way that's unique and probably a lot more powerful in the grand scheme, long run. Yeah.
Friendly vegan. Like making friends and then talking about it and then planting seeds.
Yeah.
So, and then letting people see from example. I mean, when they see you, oh yeah, you look great. What have you done? Then they are more especially weight loss, I would say, is the number one reason people are into any diet. Any diet, like, oh, you lost weight on it, I want to try it. Yeah. So definitely, I do use that with my girlfriends. I'm like, yeah, you'll lose all the weight you want, but stop eating animals. So whatever works, I mean,
You have a child that's, what, 11, your oldest?
So I have a 12-year-old and a 11-year-old.
Okay, 11.
They're 20 months apart. So my daughter is 11 right now, and my son is 12, so he'll be 13. I was 30 when my daughter was born.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm 40 right now.
Well, I appreciate your time. You two are so pleasant and radiant and vibrant, and I wish every community had a couple like you.
Oh, so sweet. That's sweet. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for the excellent food, too.
Awesome. Thank you.